know how well this is going to come across.
Yeah.
The ANEO Next Lite.
Okay.
So this was the device that was supposed to come with Hollow ISO, which is the reason I requested it in the first place.
Yeah.
Except it didn't come with Hollow ISO, because before I knew that this was coming, they changed it to Windows only.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that this is an on. And that's because it's bricked already.
How you guys doing today? Welcome to another episode of the Games in Hand podcast. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Helldivers 2 and how that performs all across the handheld PCs. We're also going to be talking about our experience with owning the Steam Deck ROG Ally and also the Legion Go. We're going to let you guys know which one we feel like is the best out of the three. So that might be interesting. And if we have time at the end, we'll talk about the Neo and the Orange Pi Neo. That's if we have time. But that is what we plan to discuss in today's podcast. So we're just going to break it down with the panel members, see how each panel member is doing and what they've been playing. So to get started, how you doing, Chief? What have you been playing?
This week I've been playing a lot of Helldivers 2 for testing purposes. But another game I've been playing that I can't talk about just yet, but will be launched next week. But
Nice.
I've actually been really hooked on. I'm really impressed with the story and the graphics and everything. So I'm excited for people to see that next week. But yeah, I can't really say much about that. And I've been diving back into Modern Warfare 3 because Season 2's dropped, but not on handhelds.
Where you at with Power Worlds, man? Did you give up on that?
No, I still keep hopping back into Power World, but I just need so much ore, and because of our configuration in the clan, I don't know what's going. Now you've broke your base, and we need to sort that out. We need an ore farm badly, so we need to kind of figure something out there. But yeah,
how many people can you have in a guild?
I think as many as the server takes. I think it's 50 is the actual max, but I think the servers only take 16 or 32 at the moment. But obviously, that's all at one time, so they can swap over.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. Thanks, Chief. How about you, Jerry? What have you been playing, and how's life been for you this week?
Life has been busy. It is Super Bowl weekend here, so a little bit of fun. And similar to Chief as far as Helldivers 2 for testing, but then I kind of went from not being into the game to really liking the game. It's a lot of fun, but solo is I don't really like that.
Don't go solo.
But once matchmaking started working, I've been in groups of 4 and just running around. It's actually a lot of fun. So yeah, Helldivers 2 got me by surprise. So I've been playing that, and of course the we shall not name game that we've been playing. And yeah, it's good. As Chief said, I can't wait for everyone to see it. This is definitely one of my favorite games so far.
Are you serious?
This year, as far as story, I'm pretty invested in the choices I'm making, and it's odd because I don't really get that into the games usually. But yeah, I'm kind of caring about the decision I made in the beginning of the game now. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, looking forward to that. But
okay, man, you guys. Just so you guys know, I haven't played this unnamed game that they're talking about, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. So I can't wait to get more information when this thing finally is available to talk about. But yeah, I've been playing Paul World myself, playing it on the Legion Go. Game's a lot of fun. I thought it's a game that I'll get sick and tired with by now, but the lure still has me, So yeah, game's a lot of fun for sure. But let's kick this off. So because there wasn't a lot of news in this week's when it comes to just handheld gaming or pocket PC gaming, if you want to call it that, we're going to do something different. We're going to talk about our experience with 3 of the big devices, the ROG Ally, the Steam Deck OLED, and also the Lenovo Legion Go. We're going to kind of rate it from our top 1 to 3, which we like the best. So we'll get started with this with Jerry. Let us know which out of the 3 devices do you like the best and why.
Of course, you're going to
yes,
start
sir.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't really made it much of a secret from sitting here with the Ally, the Go, and the Steam Deck OLED every day that when I'm kind of done testing and I go to game and hang out, I grab my Go. I really like playing on the Legion Go, and a lot of that comes down to the screen size.
Yes.
Yeah, screen size, the amount of vibrancy, brightness, just the immersion of the Legion Go screen, I think is what more gets me. Plus, I like bigger handhelds. I don't like the
Yeah.
small, crampy. But that being said, even though that's the case, and I've said this last week, the Steam Deck OLED is still my go-to for emulation, which I still play a
Yeah.
lot. I have a lot of fun with my order games, and I will say it depends on how long I want to be able to play.
Ooh.
If I'm going to be playing handheld longer, 30, 45 minutes or whatever, I like the Steam Deck OLED because ergonomically and weight wise, I can hold that thing longer and play longer than I can the Legion Go. So,
Okay.
yeah, it just depends on like the time and what I'm playing. But Go, Steam Deck OLED, then Ally for me basically right now, as far as me just grabbing stuff up personally to play when I'm not testing.
Okay. So if you were to recommend, we get this a lot in our videos, like which one should I get? Which one's the best one? I know, people have preferences, but how would you kind of recommend like a top three to people?
That question is not my favorite because it's such
You
like,
get in your videos, I see it a
I
lot in
mean,
the
yeah,
comment, like which
because
one should I get?
I mean, if you're a Valve fan, right, you're already kind of
Yeah,
leaning. If you want an easier console experience, the Steam Deck is by far like the easiest pickup and play. However, the Steam Deck also offers a ton of stuff you could do that isn't easy.
yeah,
That we all do guides for and stuff like that to play. Do a lot of other things with your Steam Deck. But if you want the easiest thing to grab and start playing your Steam games, it's really the easiest one. And the OLED does offer, like I said, comfort, battery life,
yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. But it has its limitations, right? There
yeah.
are games you can't play or that don't play well on it, and that type of thing. So it's really just depends on what you're looking for. If you already know you're a Windows gamer and you're looking for a Windows gaming device, we don't have the Claw yet to test out. So for me, I would recommend the Legion Go. Unless weight for you, weight and size of the device is really a concern, grab the Ally. So there's
Yeah,
just what I really like, and we talked about this before when handhelds were starting to take off and when the Steam Deck first came out, we're like, we want to see competition, but I
yeah,
don't want them to all mimic each other.
yeah.
Well, they haven't yet.
It's true.
Steam Deck, Ally, and Legion Go are so different, and that's what I like because that offers a lot of choice for people to get into the market.
That's true. Thanks for that, Jared. How about you, Chief? How would you rate your top three? And if you were to recommend it to people, what would your recommendation?
I'm mostly going to echo Jerry here because they are different. My go-to is the same for the Legion Go, but I generally prop it up if I'm in like sitting down somewhere or lying like in bed. I'll prop it up on a pillow on my lap to hold it to make use or not have that weight. But having the extra power and the bigger screen, and for an IPS screen, it's such a good looking screen. If you put it
Yeah,
up against the OLED or switch between the OLED Steam Deck and the Legion Go, you don't notice a huge amount of difference, but you notice a massive difference when you go to the ROG Ally.
yeah,
But the ROG Ally form factor, especially with something like the JSOX mod case on, is almost as comfortable or just as comfortable as the Steam Deck OLED. And that's my big bugbear with the Legion Go is the controllers are just not comfortable. It's
yeah,
not the greatest thing to hold. Why it's got square edges, it's just beyond me. They really missed the trick there. But Steam Deck OLED is still my go-to. If I'm playing Power World, generally I'll just grab the OLED because it's much more comfortable and I'm probably going to be playing it for an hour or two. Because even if I hop on to do a 5-minute task on Power World, it's usually 2 hours later. I think I probably should stop playing this. So it just is more comfortable. And as Jerry said, if you're not going to be playing first-person shooters, you're not going to be playing the ones that you know that are restricted on Steam Deck, like Destiny 2 or COD and things like that, then it's just so much easier just to pick up and play via Steam on there. But Legion Go is still my go-to. However, I never thought that the portrait screen landscape screen issue was ever going to affect me, but the way that the AMD's motion fluid frames drivers released and they work just pretty much out of the box on the Ally has just made a huge game changer for me. I'm playing a fair few more games on the Ally when I can because I can take advantage of motion fluid frames. Playing that unknown game, I can play 60 to 90 frames per second on the Ally. thanks to the motion fluid frames, and it's clear and smooth. So it's that trade-off now until the Legion Go gets it. So it's having that advantage. From our point of view, we have all three, so we can chop and change. But if anybody's going to be buying just one, as Jerry said, it's not an easy, clear-cut decision. Weight comes into it. What games you're playing are going to come into it. Budget comes into it. So it really is more of a questionnaire when that comes out, rather than somebody just says, which one should I buy? It's like, well, it really depends on what your scenario is. So all three are great devices, but for very different reasons. So that's why they are our top three. That's why we constantly cover them, right?
Yeah. Nicely said. Good point, Chief. Yeah, I would say for me, my top three would be ROG Ally at number 3, Steam Deck OLED, number 2, Legion Go, number 1. I really like all you guys echoing what you guys have said. I love this screen. The screen is a deal breaker for me, right? It's like owning the Ally, playing the Legion Go, going to the Ally is a night and day difference. It's almost comical. Just it almost feels like the Ally is a toy when you go back to the screen size and just how good the screen looks in the Legion Go. But the Steam Deck OLED, I told you guys last week that I'll focus on sell my LCD, which I did. So now I'm focusing, spending some time um, with the Steam Deck OLED, and I love the way that it feels. I got the case for it, the grip, but I never used that on this device. For some reason, it feels more comfortable. The analog stick is a lot better than the OLED. The grip just feels really, really comfortable to where you don't need a case. So shout outs to Valve, shout outs to the Steam Deck for feeling comfortable. But when it comes to performance, these new AMD chipset gives you an edge, just slight edge over the Steam Deck. And I feel like that's why I prefer playing games on the go, because you get better performance, you get better FPS. It's not that significant, but good enough to where you can get, a very comfortable gaming experience. So that's why I tend to pick up my Legion Go when it comes to the 3. But recommending which one you guys should get, like Chief was saying and Jerry was saying, it's all about preference, right? What fits your gaming needs, right? If you guys like the simplicity of a console like experience, definitely take a look at the Steam Deck OLED. It's easy, right? You turn it on, boot it up, you're on Steam OS, you can just download your Steam game, have access to it. But some of you guys might own Game Pass, right? And some of you guys might want to use Game Pass or other launches. I know there's ways to get those on the Steam Deck. We've done guides on it. But Game Pass is a big one because the only way to get to play Game Pass is via streaming. And I know a lot of you guys don't like streaming. So you might want a Windows device. You can sideload Windows on Steam Deck, but it's a pain. So with that, I would recommend probably looking at one of these, Windows handheld PCs like the RGLI or Legion Go. But yeah, the other thing to say, you guys might not want a beefy device. The Legion Go is a big boy, right? 8.8-inch, big screen. You might want something smaller like the Steam Deck, and that's where the RGLI comes into. So you have options, which is incredible, right? Almost 3 years ago, we didn't have all these options, so it's a good place to be for sure. But yeah, anything else when it comes to these three devices and recommending it to people that watch us?
Well, just on that performance front, and I often actually run the same settings that I do for the Steam Deck on the other handhelds, but at a higher resolution.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that it's a slight performance jump,
Yeah.
but it's significant enough. So, for example, whatever settings I run on the Steam Deck at 800p,
Yeah.
I will run those settings, but at 1200p on the Legion Go, and
Yeah.
that's why we end up playing there, is because 1200p resolution on that screen up close is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And because we're used to seeing that performance that we did on the ROG Ally and Steam Deck with those settings, you don't expect too much more performance because you've got a higher fidelity image anyway.
Right. True. True. How about you, Jerry? Anything else you want to say about the comparison with the three?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. The same thing with Chief. I think, Ally 1080p or Legion Go 1200p, is like your Steam Deck 800p performance.
Yeah.
It just kind of translates over. And then if you drop those devices down to 720 or 800, you can then get a lot more FPS, but yet keep the same settings or up them. So you get a lot more play with the settings on those devices. On the Steam Deck, 15 watts is your max, and you're usually kind of tied in to what you can do. And with resolution, like testing games on Steam Deck is way easier than testing games on the Go or the Ally, just because of the amount of options you have on the Windows devices.
Yeah. So with these Windows devices, I do feel like you have more options to play around with, right? Changing TDPs and different wattage. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about a Sony game that released this week. People are calling this a big game. Helldivers 1 was, a pretty good game, but it was more of like an indie game. I feel like this is a bigger game than Helldivers 1. But the game that we're talking about is Helldivers 2, released this week. We've done some gameplay videos on Steam Deck, Legion Go, and RG Ally. So I just want to talk about our experience with this game, performance wise, and also if it's a game that we like and if it's a game that we recommend for you guys to check out as well. So let's get started with this, Chief. How has Helldivers been for you, and how has your experience been overall with it? And would you recommend it to the viewers?
It's okay. It's definitely not my go-to style game.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you play Helldivers 1?
I didn't play Helldivers 1, but I did play quite a lot of Starship Troopers Extermination. And, for people that don't know about that game, Helldivers feels like a hell of a ripoff.
Yeah.
That game.
It's pretty similar. Pretty similar.
Because, if anybody who's obviously watched Starship Troopers, that's the first thing you're going to think of when you're diving into Helldivers is, I'm in Starship Troopers. But it's a much tamer version and it's much more multiplayer, team orientated. So I think I didn't really get on with Helldivers 2 from the offset because I was playing solo. And obviously it was broken when we were testing it initially, so we couldn't even play multiplayer. So it became a very laborious and chore to do even the easy missions, I felt. And it just didn't gel with me at all. But obviously once they fixed the multiplayer and we got that exposure, it is definitely more fun as a group. But the requirement of a group and either diving into somebody else's games or going through the pain of trying to set up sessions to get people into your game, it just doesn't feel great for me. And the fact that it still has battle passes and it still has in-app purchases for a paid-for game, it just never sits right for me to pay money up front for a game and then be asked to pay for more for cosmetics, for power plays, for essentially pay-to-win architecture in a paid-for game. So it just didn't sit right with me on a lot of aspects. And the fact that I had played Starship Troopers Extermination, which throws you into multiplayer by default. There's 10 times more bugs, and it just feels much more like a Starship Troopers experience
Do you
rather
think
than.
Starship Troop is better than this? Like, which do you
I do.
prefer?
It's still early access. They've still got a lot of work to do, but it's. I guess I'm more used to first person for the shooters, but there's much more involved in it. It did feel like a Sony game from the offset. Everything's got some kind of quick time event or mini puzzle buried into every little bit. So, yeah, I'm probably against quite a lot of the grain here as far as Helldivers 2 is concerned. But yeah, it definitely didn't gel with me as much as I was expecting it to. So,
Would you recommend it?
no, I would recommend Starship Troopers Extermination if you wanted a bug killing experience that's quite hilarious.
Okay, fair. How about you, Jerry? How has the experience been with Helldivers 2, and is it something that you would recommend to the viewers?
Yeah, well, I like Starship Troopers Extermination is definitely a lot of fun, but it is set up a good bit different. And when I jumped into Helldivers, I think I was messaging you guys like, I'm trying to figure out how this works. Like, it took me a little bit. I was like, this is not my game.
Yeah.
But then I was having to test it on all the devices, and I had to keep playing. And then they fixed the matchmaking, at least to a point where I was
Yeah.
actually getting in and getting. And I was like, okay. Then it started to click for me because solo I hated.
Yeah.
And then groups were breaking on me, or I was getting disconnected. And once that fixed, I mean, I probably did 12, 14 full group rounds and was recording for test, and then I was just having fun with it. And it did start to click. I mean, it's a gameplay loop. You're gonna, it like anything else, drop in, do your objectives, get out. Did you get anything new? Yes, no, equip it, drop in, do everything, get out. And that's gonna be your loop. But the fun comes with a group. The fun comes with, like, I even enabled chat for a little while. I had a couple of fun people jump in and out. So there's definitely stuff there to have fun with. I don't love microtransactions and battle passes going into a lot of games either. It's something I liked about Star Wars Squadrons when it released for $40, is there was nothing additional in there. You just got everything in the game. But I mean, it is what it is. It is a $40 game. They didn't go 60 or 70, which I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I think it's pretty decent. Looks like they'll support it for a long time. So if that gameplay loop and playing with groups is your thing, I think it's probably worth the money, or wait a couple months and get it cheaper, on a sale. But I'm having some fun with it. I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Player
Okay.
count is going up too.
Yeah.
I
What
sent you a
is
link
what's
over for that if you
yes
want
at
to
like
check it out.
70,000 now, it
Um,
seems like. Oh,
No,
yeah,
100, and it went up from 113,000 when we started the podcast to 134,000 now.
wow.
So its all-time peak is 134,478, and that's how many people are in now. So it's raised today another 20,000
It's just
That's
broke
in
it.
the past
It's at
couple of weeks.
135 now.
Yeah, 100. Okay, there it is. Yep, I just refreshed. It's up again. So it's climbing. Like, it's continuing to climb a good bit today. And I think the deal is with this game is there's no marketing. Like, there has been almost zero marketing for Helldivers 2 other than in like Sony showcases.
Yeah.
So I think word of mouth and social media is going to be what has to drive this game. And I notice everything has just been ticking up and ticking up since it's come out. So I think it's going to
Well,
do pretty
since they
decent.
fixed it, it had
Well,
that big dip yesterday.
yeah,
Where nobody could actually play
yes,
multiplayer.
yeah.
But now they
Wait,
But
fixed
they had a
multiplayer. It's going
big
to be.
dip.
see that dip in the middle? See the where things were like, because
Oh, here.
multiplayer wasn't working,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's where I was getting kicked, and like I was holding off, and then I took a break, and then
Yeah.
when I came back, there was a patch, and then all of a sudden I was
Yes.
like starting to. I was like, okay, here we go, and they've patched it 2 more times since then. We have like 3 patches
Wow.
already since release. Yeah,
Wow.
so it's cool
So
to see.
yeah, I do have to say shout outs to them because this game, when I was testing it, uh, I almost refunded the game. You guys saw how like frustrated I was with this
Mhm.
game. But yeah, right as soon as I was done with the gameplay footage for ROG Ally, they came out with a patch, and I believe since then it's been like 1 or 2 other patches. But I played it last night and everything went smooth. I was able to find groups to play with, and yeah, it was a fun experience after all the headache of trying to get it to work. But eventually it did start working for me, and yeah, it's a fun game. So I was really big on Helldivers 1. And I think I put about like 80 hours into that game.
Wow.
And yeah, it was like it's different actually, because it's like an over the top camera view. This one's like a third person camera view, and so it's taking a little getting used to, but it does feel like Starship Troopers because I did play that game as well. Even though that game is first person, I feel like this game copies a lot from it, but I'm liking it. And if you have a good team to play with, I think this is fun. I'm curious to see, is at 135,000 right now in game. I'm curious to see how long this lasts, because you guys know Sony, they've been trying to make online games like these for quite some time. You know, they were working and like in, what was it, the Last of Us Online game that they scrapped, and these rumors of it coming back now. But yeah, they're trying to make more games like these. Again, they acquired Bungie for Destiny for this reason, right?
Yeah, I'd be
So
willing to bet that PlayStation console numbers are higher.
yeah, yeah,
So, I think for Steam, for
possibly
PC, this is actually pretty decent
pretty decent,
considering.
right?
Well, this outstripped. It's outstripped God of War's peak already, I believe.
Yeah,
Um, And we want this to succeed for those reasons, that we want to see more day and date releases of Sony games on PC. So, as much as I'm not that into the game, I do still want this to succeed, because I do want to see less exclusives, full exclusives on console, because I hate that. I don't care who's got exclusive. It just shouldn't be, right? I mean, PC is proving once again that it is a huge market.
Yeah. So this is I'm glad you said that. This is a huge deal. This is a day and date release from Sony, right? Normally the game comes out and 2 years later it releases on PC, but this game released same day and date. So this is good. I hope it's the numbers that Sony expecting, so we can get more same day and date release. But yeah, Jerry, do you have anything else to say about Helldivers? Are you gonna go back to playing it? Seems like you had a good experience.
Once I'm done doing things I need to do work wise, I'll definitely be jumping back in, playing some matches tonight. Tomorrow during the Super Bowl, I'll be on the Go or the Steam Deck. And that's one last thing I will say. It may not be perfect, but Helldivers 2 certainly hasn't launched with the worst performance that we've seen on PC.
That's
and
true.
Actually, it's been pretty good on a lot of the devices, even like frame times and stuff like that. Pretty good. Like, I will say it hasn't come out a mess when it comes to performance, which is nice.
That's true. True. Cool. All right. So let's move on. This is just some random news with Chief testing out an INEO product. Let's just talk about your experience, because we've been talking on Discord a little bit about trying to set it up, and how has tell the viewers what device you. Oh, I hope you're allowed to talk about it, right?
I assume so. It came with very little information. They didn't actually tell me they were sending it. It just turned up.
Okay. Just let's not get ourselves in trouble. But yeah, talk about it. Let the people know what device it is and how your experience has been so far with it.
I don't know how well this is going to come across.
Yeah.
The ANEO Next Lite. Okay. So this was the device that was supposed to come with Hollow ISO, which is the reason I requested it in the first place.
Yeah.
Except it didn't come with Hollow ISO, because before I knew that this was coming, they changed it to Windows only. Yeah. And you'll notice that this is an on. And that's because it's bricked already. Within literally 6 hours of testing, it turned off. And it won't turn back on again. Well, it turns on, but the fans come on and the power light flashes, and that's it. And ANEO's on holiday for Lunar New Year till 17th of February, I think. So I've got another week to wait before I get any responses to anything.
Yeah.
I've looked online. I can't find any information of previous devices that have any similar symptoms. Black screen issue is an issue across a lot of their devices, but most people have managed to recover it either by getting into BIOS or something else. But it seems to have gone into some power saving state or whatever, and there's no documentation on this out yet, so I can't even attempt to recover it. The Hollow ISO install on their site is behind a permissioned Google Drive you have to request access to, which I did the day I got it. But again, they're on holiday, so I've never managed to get access to any of that documentation. So unfortunately, I've just got a paperweight here until I get some kind of response, whether they send me a new unit or tell me how to recover it or what. I just don't know yet. But what I did test from it, it's heavy. It's heavier, or it feels heavier than the Legion Go. And it's a small device. And performance-wise, it did seem to be lacking compared to the Steam Deck. Anything GPU intensive, it wasn't great. Like Cyberpunk 2077 barely held 30 frames per second at 800p, even with the Steam Deck type settings that I used to use. But I put Grand Theft Auto 5 on there, and I'm getting a solid 60 to 90 frames per second. So it's definitely either GPU drivers or GPU bound issues. I will say the Hall Effect joysticks and triggers, though, are nice. I'm really excited now to hopefully, if we ever find out what the hell's going on with the MSI Claw, Maybe we'll come on to that in a bit. But the Hall effect triggers are just so responsive. It was just really nice to just play with them. And I think I commented to Jerry on Discord. It's like I was driving around at like 10 mile an hour in Grand Theft Auto 5 just because I could. And I could like
Wow.
go between like crawling to like doing the speed limit just by holding the trigger, which if you're used to any of the handhelds that we got currently, it's usually like pretty much full throttle or like nothing. So I was being able to hold that range was just very cool. But
Okay.
unfortunately, I didn't get to test many more games before it gave up on me. So hopefully, I'll have some more info about that soon.
This looks like a Nintendo Switch Lite. Maybe I'm a little off, but I actually like the way this looks. Um,
It's not
I
bad. The
yeah.
joystick on the right being so low is a bit uncomfortable. I'm not used to on any of the devices that
Yeah.
joystick being that low. So you do find that it's on the kind of bottom part of your thumb
Yeah,
most of the
that
time
is
rather than
very Switch-like to be that low. Like if you look on the regular Switch or the Lite, it's pretty low.
yeah. But because of the
Yeah.
weight of it, it doesn't kind of feel right because you don't think something that small should be that heavy. I don't know if they've actually got the official weight on here or on any of the specs,
Let's see if I can find it. Yeah.
but yeah, it'd be interesting to compare that to the actual. I'll look at the Legion Go weight while we're here. What's the official Legion
Oh,
Go weight?
that would be good to know. Yeah.
854 grams on the Legion Go weight. Saying that the next light is 720 grams.
Okay.
So it's
Close.
actually 100 grams lighter than the Legion Go, but it doesn't
Legion.
feel like it. I
Yeah.
guess because it's such a small device,
Yeah.
it's that weight isn't kind of balanced as well, maybe.
Doesn't that
So
make it a good bit heavier than the Ally or the deck, though?
Yeah, it's
For
like
its
200 grams
size?
yeah.
heavier than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I mean,
So
it's surprising.
the price point, do you think is worth $300? This is probably one of the cheapest price point right now for handheld PCs. Do you think it's worth it for that price?
Well, that's just the thing, isn't it? And that's why I really wanted to get Hollow ISO on it to see real kind of comparison on the Steam Deck performance. Because even the base Steam Deck for the LCD model is still £100 more, pretty much, right? So it definitely is the budget option with no trackpad. So I'd
Yeah.
probably can compare it more to the Z1 Ally that none of us want to touch. But I do
Yeah.
feel like it's only for specific types of games. So CPU intensive Windows games, I think, will perform well. We're performing well, but
Yeah.
AAA, no, you've got no chance really. So if you want a budget AA device, then I think it's probably worth it. But if you can afford to spend that little bit extra on an Ally or Legion Go, then it's probably what you want to go for, really.
So I know Valve, when the OLED came out, they were selling the to clear the stocks the old Steam Deck for really cheap. How low did that price point go? Did it ever, especially like the refurbished ones too? Did it?
I think it
I
only
think it
went
was like,
down to about 300. I don't think it went
yeah,
lower than that.
right. So I feel like at that point, would it be better to just, do they still
349
make
right now.
refurbished? Refurbished is 349.
No, the not refurb. Sorry, that's the regular 64 gig LCD is 349
It's
new.
349, so it's just $50 more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you were going to do it, I'd probably say get an LCD Steam Deck and
Yeah,
put Windows on it if
yeah,
you're going to do that.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The APU in the Steam Deck is still a lot more capable. The good thing is there's a lot of benchmarks out there for the Ryzen 4000 series, like the 4500U, the 4800U,
Yeah.
and all that to kind of see what general performance will be like. And like you said, it's the budgety AA indie emulation y kind of option. You're not going to play, I've tested like Cyberpunk and stuff on my 4500U laptop, and it is a no go. It's not going to work. So, but for $299, it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah. So just real quick, looking at the Steam Deck refurbished price point again, I don't know if these are ever come back because they did say once they sell out, I think this set is final. Um, but this is the pricing for refurbished Steam Decks, right? So again, 280, 319, 360. Not a bad price. And especially like you can easily swap out the 64 gigs, right? And this does come with the warranty from Valve as well. So I don't know, it might be a better option to go the Steam Deck route than to get something like this, especially like when it comes to game performance, like you're saying, Jerry. But quite interesting. Speaking about another Steam Deck competitor, I said we probably might not get into this, but I think it'll be good to talk about this because this came out of nowhere. And that is the Orange Pi Neo. So I don't know too much about this. Chief, you've looked at it. Jerry said you haven't really looked at it much, but it's an AMD Ryzen 7 784U handheld. This is supposed to have 120 refresh rate, 7-inch screen. Um, Again, look at it though. It looks similar to the Aya Neo that we were just looking at. This seems like a pretty interesting design that a lot of these companies are choosing for the handhelds. But yeah, saying here it's equipped with advanced cooling system, dual 6-axis precise sensor control, vibrant RGB lighting. You got the whole linear triggers. It boasts 255 steps of key travel. A lot of good things here going for this device. Specs, these are the specs as you can see again, has that 7-inch right here, 500 nits, 120 refresh rate. Where is the battery?
50 watt hours on the right. This is essentially the Steam Deck OLED, but without an OLED screen,
OLED screen. Yeah.
but on a smaller form factor. So it doesn't have the rear buttons either, but it's got 2 USB. The
Okay.
problem I have
50.
with
Yeah.
this is
Uh-huh.
one, it's running Manjaro and not SteamOS or Hollow IC,
Hmm.
and two, we've never heard of this company before. And if you
Yeah.
look at their website, they sell chips. They sell raw components. So for them to suddenly come out with a handheld that looks like this
Yeah.
is concerning.
You
It's
have
like they've
concerns. Yeah.
they've just bought a design and run with it. Now, there is very little information about this yet. I could be completely wrong. It could be a stealth drop of somebody who's researched this market extremely well, seen what Steam Deck's done, upgraded it, and going to put this out. But I do have major concerns that this is someone with no prior experience or kind of background in handheld or gaming at all.
Yeah.
So at least, we joke about how many devices A&E and One Netbook put out every year, but
Yeah.
they've got a long-standing history in these gaming devices, right? So you'd think that they have some kind of experience. Valve had obviously the gaming experience, and they have had hardware in various forms over the years. So it'll be very interesting to see what this is, but there is very little information, and nobody's really got their hands on these to test yet. So
Yeah.
certainly something to watch, especially as they are touting the 32 gig of RAM, which I know everybody's probably drooling over for this kind of form factor device, especially with trackpads as well. So
So hopefully
definitely
they
one to
keep
watch.
that. We've seen these marketing, uh, pre-marketing. They say they're gonna have stuff with the device and they end up taking it away. Remember the Claw was rumored to have 32 gig
Hmm.
of RAM as well, right? So hopefully this stays, you know. But
It's hard to tell. I mean, they're really boxing themselves in with the OS, so it's hard to tell how big the market's going to be for that.
yeah,
And then on top of that, I mean, The Ally is a fairly small device, but there's a lot of venting and engineering on the inside for cooling, and even then you get into the 80s when you're doing well. So looking at this with a 7840U and the vent they showed on it and the size and the design in the pictures, I'd be a little concerned about thermals and thermal throttling and really getting the performance out of that chip and not being in the 90s and throttled most of the time if you're not at like 15 watts. But, again, like Chief said, we could be wrong, but that's my first concern when I see that.
Yeah.
And also, yet another 7840U.
Another, yeah. I mean, the OS sets it apart, but also boxes it into a much smaller market potentially.
Yeah.
So, yeah. At least if it
But
would have had Steam OS, it would have had some pull.
yeah, true. So let me ask you guys this question because I'm seeing a theme here with the MSI Claw and now with this. It seems like going forward, there's going to be a lot of handheld, but not coming from. I know MSI, is pretty big, but this company we really haven't heard of. Do you guys think we'll see more of these, like, I guess, like, if you want to call them secondary, not big name player handheld PC devices this year?
Yeah, most likely. I mean,
And
I think
what are
yeah,
your thoughts about that? Is
It's the
this,
Bitcoin boom of handhelds, right?
yeah, I mean,
Everybody's trying to grab a piece of the pie.
but is
everyone's
that
going to
good for
toss
the
in.
market, do you think?
I look, I'm going to continue to say similar things as we move forward this year and next year, covering the handhelds. Just be an informed consumer, know what you're getting. And there's a reason why I waited to cover the handhelds till we got to what I call like the mainstream main companies making them:
Yeah.
Valve,
Yeah.
Asus, Lenovo, companies that have reputations or larger support set up to get things fixed, exchanged, returned, whatever, and things like that. So, um, I think a lot of people are still going to lean towards things like Asus, Lenovo, Valve in the future, probably more with MSI. I expect Acer to put something out not too far into the future, and Dell may even jump in with their Alien line to do something. They're bound to. So, I would just always be kind of leaning towards that kind of stuff, but I think you're going to get like the whole junk pile of one after another of these kinds of devices that come out. But
Yeah.
main consumers won't even know they exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like most
Right.
people, like they only know little bits, parts of tech, or they're interested in a handheld. They look it up, and a couple of the top guys come up. But like because we follow it, we know about this. I bet a lot of people will never know a
Yeah.
handheld like this was even coming out. So
True. How about you, Chief? Do you think this is good for the market, or are you concerned about all these old dudes?
Competition's always good, right? But like Jerry said, it's going to be a flood. And I think there is the flood because Steam Deck proved the market exists. ANEO and one netbook have been doing this for probably longer than Steam or Valve has. But as Jerry said, unless you're following that and you're into the tech world, you probably wouldn't know that those companies exist. Because if you go and look them up now, there's like 15 handhelds of various types across Android, Windows, your $200 device or your $2,000 device, right? They've literally got it all, but they are constantly pumping out new devices. So it's very difficult to keep up with. Whereas now the big players have entered the market. Valve, we didn't expect a refresh. We got a refresh in 2 years. Asus have let slip that they're going to be releasing the Ally 2, and we're only not even a year in, really. So Legion Go is definitely in its infancy. What we've noticed with the MSI Claw and probably with this Orange Pi is people are panicking and they're trying to get something out as quick as possible to get in on that rush or to stop people buying other devices so they can have the money for that device.
True.
Because unlike us, most people aren't going to be swapping and changing or buying multiple handhelds. They're going to buy a Legion Go or an Ally, and they'll sit and watch the news. And unless it's absolutely fantastic and they can get most of their money back on their existing device, they're not going to swap devices.
It's like a PC, right?
Yeah.
You don't you spend all that money on getting a gaming PC. When a new thing comes out, you don't buy a second one just to have it around, But yeah, I see where you're coming from there. Okay, Jerry, any thoughts here?
No, just be
Yep.
ready for the flood. Be educated on what you're gonna buy, and
Yeah.
follow us.
Yeah. Yeah. We help you guys make those educated decisions when it comes to which device to get. But yeah, fellas, let's wrap this up. Appreciate you guys watching this episode. We'll do another one next week. Let us know also in the comments below, how do you like the format? What would you guys like to see to make this podcast better? Feedback is really appreciated. But let's just talk about what's to come with Games in Hand. What are you guys working on, and what can people expect with Steam Deck Gaming, GTP, and the rest of the channels? So, Jerry, just fill us in. What's going on with GTP? What's coming up, and what are you working on?
All right, so mostly for GTPs, probably going to be coming a lot of refreshed guides because some stuff came out in 2022, early
Yeah.
2023, and most of them all still work the same, but sometimes there's little tweaks or people have asked questions. I'm like, oh, we could have answered that in that guide. So I think we're going to do a lot of refresh guides over there. Also, the game we can't name yet that actually I believe our embargo lifts Monday. Tuesday. I don't know. It's coming soon. So anyway, this episode will be up Sunday. You won't have to wait long to see that. So that's really where all my time is right now, is getting ready for our Legion Go video on Games in Hand for that game that's coming, and on GTP for multiple platforms. And then I think Chief is doing, his side of the stuff for that game over there. But yeah, pretty just deep into that. And then once we get past Monday, Tuesday, we'll plan the next round.
Cool. Cool. Chief, how about you? What are you working on?
So I think actually, from when we finish recording this, the Starfield FSR3 comparison will be live for Steam Deck. So obviously that's what I've been working on. And then the game that we can't name, the 12th is the embargo. So I've got a video for Steam Deck Gaming and Ally in Hand, which will be going live for that. And then I've also been testing out Wolong Fallen Dynasty Complete Edition, which launched last week. And thanks
Are
to
you
Koei
serious?
Tecmo that gave me a key for that one. So I've been
I
retesting the
didn't know you were
performance on Steam
testing that.
Deck.
That's cool.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I only tested it today actually to get the video ready.
Wow. That's cool.
So yeah, I should have a video for that next week as well.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have been following Steam Deck review and tips, but getting back in the flow of, consistent news video and updates there. So check that out. I have some accessory videos that I do want to get done for Games in Hand for the Legion Go, and also for ROG Ally in Hand as well. So I'll probably finish that up this week sometime. But yeah, it's definitely good to see us just get back in the flow of things. And I know there's a lot of changes with everything, but it seems like we're getting back in the rhythm. So it's pretty cool. And let us again know in the comments below how you guys liking us juggling multiple, different channels. And yeah, follow each of everyone, because we want to deliver the best handheld PC experience for all you guys. And like we were saying, this podcast help you guys make the right decisions with which device you want to pick up, or you should pick up. So that's all we have for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Till next time. Peace out.